A 41-year-old man, his sixth World Cup, and after just one match, people are saying it's time to bench Ronaldo. Yes, you heard that right. Cristiano Ronaldo, the player with the most international goals in the world, 143 goals. And now even his own fans are raising questions. In the match against DR Congo, Portugal could only manage a 1-1 draw. Ronaldo was on the field for the full 90 minutes, and not once did the ball even come close to the goal off his feet. Today we're going to talk about, is this really Ronaldo's decline? Or is this just one bad day that the media is blowing way out of proportion? By the end of this video, you'll have the full picture, so let's get started. So let's first understand what actually happened in the match. On June 17th, at Houston Stadium, Portugal began their 2026 World Cup campaign against DR Congo, a team playing only their second-ever World Cup. Everything started off perfectly. In just the 6th minute, João Neves scored a beautiful header off a cross from Pedro Neto. The stadium erupted in celebration. It looked like Portugal would cruise to an easy win. But then the story flipped. DR Congo fought back. In stoppage time of the first half, Yoane Wissa scored with a header. And this wasn't just any ordinary goal, it was DR Congo's first ever goal in their entire World Cup history. The match ended in a 1-1 draw. Portugal, the strong favourites, stumbled in their very first match. But the real story isn't just about the scoreline. The real story is about Ronaldo's individual performance. Across the full 90 minutes, Ronaldo managed only 3 shot attempts, and not a single one was on target. That's not a small number when you consider this has been a continuous pattern. This was Ronaldo's 5th consecutive World Cup match without scoring. And if you combine World Cups and Euros together, this is his 10th consecutive major tournament match without a goal. Here's the most shocking part. Ronaldo hasn't scored a non-penalty goal in any major competition since June 19, 2021. Think about that, it's been 5 years. And here comes a painful comparison. Lionel Messi, the only other player besides Ronaldo to play in 6 World Cups, scored a hat-trick in his very first match of this tournament. So at the exact moment Ronaldo had a chance to surpass Messi, to make history by scoring in a 6th World Cup, that chance slipped right through his fingers. But wait, numbers alone don't tell the whole story. Portugal's coach Roberto Martinez said something interesting in the press conference. He said that after scoring the goal, the team's entire mindset shifted. In his words, once Portugal took the 1-0 lead, the team got emotional and stopped taking risks. Looking for space, pushing into the final third, all of that dropped off. According to Martinez, this wasn't a tactical issue, it was an emotional reaction. It's the first match of the World Cup, there's pressure, and teams sometimes become defensive once they take the lead. This is important to understand, because if the problem isn't simply a Ronaldo has gotten old, but rather an issue with the entire team's game management, then the narrative completely changes. But on the other hand, the stats also show that Portugal held 80% possession, yet only 3 shots came from Ronaldo's end. So the question is, was this purely a team tactical issue, or was Ronaldo himself struggling with his own speed and sharpness? Now let's get to the question everyone's asking, has Ronaldo's age finally caught up with him? Here are the facts. Ronaldo is now 41 years old. In this match, he became the oldest outfield starter in World Cup history, a record previously held by Canada's Atiba Hutchinson, set back in 2022. Playing a full 90 minutes of high-intensity football at age 41, no matter how fit you are, the body simply has its limits. Speed drops slightly, and that explosiveness on sharp turns that existed at age 25 just isn't there anymore. But here's an important point: this isn't actually a new pattern for Ronaldo. Even at the last World Cup, Qatar 2022, coach Fernando Santos used him as a substitute in some matches rather than a starter. This time around too, Ronaldo missed Portugal's first 2 matches of the year due to a hamstring injury. So the question is, was his fitness fully ready for this match? And now, the most controversial part of all. After the match, several pundits and media outlets openly raised the question, should Ronaldo now be dropped from the team? Think about how big a statement that is. This is a man who is the all-time leading scorer in international football with 143 goals, who has 228 international caps, who has won 5 Champions League titles, and people are saying his time might be up. These aren't just random trolls saying this. These are established football pundits and media outlets raising this question ahead of the Uzbekistan match. Imagine the pressure on a player who is playing his last World Cup, chasing the one major trophy that has eluded his entire career, while questions are being raised about whether he's now become a burden to the team. This is exactly the moment where legend status collides with reality. So now, the match on June 23 has become absolutely critical for Portugal against Uzbekistan, at the same Houston stadium. Here's what's interesting: Uzbekistan are playing their first ever World Cup, and they lost their opening match 3-1 against Colombia. So on paper, this looks like an easy match for Portugal. But that's exactly the pressure. Portugal now needs to win, and not just for the scoreline, but to restore confidence, and to answer Ronaldo's critics. If Ronaldo fails to score again in this match, the questions will only get louder. But if he makes a comeback, if he scores even just 1 goal, the entire narrative flips. That's the beautiful thing about sports: one match, one moment, and everything can change. So what's my opinion on this whole situation? I think it's too early to call Ronaldo finished after just 1 match. Form comes and goes in football, and judging a legend at his level based on just 90 minutes isn't fair. But it's also true, age is a factor that no player can ignore, no matter how great they are. And Portugal has so much talent: Bruno Fernandes, João Neves, Vitinha, that perhaps the team's structure needs to evolve a bit. This is Ronaldo's final World Cup. However it ends, a chapter is closing that will always be remembered in football history. So what do you think? Should Ronaldo be benched, or is he still Portugal's biggest hope? Let me know in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, hit like and subscribe, and tap the bell icon, because after the Uzbekistan match, we'll be bringing you a full breakdown. See you in the next video.